Okay, good stuff. Okay, so hi, I'm Harrison, as David said, Head of Advancing Technology and Innovation at BAM UK and I just want to start this presentation by saying we are still very early in our AI journey, but we have started and we're constantly learning and adapting all the time. I'm hoping from this presentation that you'll be able to take away how to position AI in your businesses, understand about some of the limitations, the risks, the pitfalls, and then some really easy, simple steps on how to get started. So AI will not replace jobs, it will change the nature of work. A McKinsey report back in 2017 said that 50% of work activities could be automated if we adopted all the available technology that we had at our resource. That was back in 2017. So what do we think that figure is now in 2024? And if we look inwardly at our own organisations within the construction sector, what percentage of work activities do we think could be automated? Now, I'm not talking about completely replacing the need for someone. I don't think we're talking about mass unemployment, not yet anyway. But I think our focus needs to be more on doing more with the resources that we have, but also restructuring roles and responsibilities to focus away from mundane reporting and generic repeatable tasks and focus more on the value add activities, the talent that we have within our sector and those high-skilled tasks, and also move to the more human-facing interactions around customer engagement, building relationships and minding your stakeholders. And if you still need convincing, Stanford University bring out a report each year called the AI Index Report. It's well worth the read. And there, several studies last year assessed AI's impact on the labour sector. Those results showed that people could carry out their work 25% more quickly by using AI, and the quality of output increased by up to 40%. It also demonstrated that AI had the potential to bridge the skill gaps between high and low skilled workers, and also created more job satisfaction. So why now? I think Sharon went through the technical details of why now. But for me, it's because generative AI is just so easy and intuitive. Everyone's getting instant, tangible benefits from using these solutions. I think finally people are waking up to the value of good, clean data. As someone who's worked in digital for most of my career, and many in the room probably have as well, I think we've been hammering home the drum of good, clean data, good information management, but now the benefits haven't been glaringly obvious to the rest of the employees until now. AI is providing that very tangible benefit of what can be achieved. And open AI tools that are freely available are really raising the baseline, but the real opportunity comes from leveraging the data that exists within your organizations and making sure they can be enabled through AI tools. Now, before we dive headfirst into AI, I think it's important that we're aware of the limitations and the risks that exist with AI tools. You may be familiar of a company called Arup. This year, they actually fell victim to a serious fraud where their CFO was mimicked using an AI deep fake, where they represent his face and his voice. A commercial colleague was brought into a Teams call with said fake CFO, amongst other fake AI deep fakes, and he was convinced to make 5 transactions to several Hong Kong bank accounts, and before they could detect the fraud, they had lost $25 million. So that might explain some of the reservations for some of those senior execs in getting involved in AI. That's quite an extreme example, but there are some fundamental risks and limitations of AI that we should be aware of. The first is around reliability. AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, and as we've heard before, AI can get it wrong. This was also demonstrated last year when a few lawyers submitted completely fake citations in a court filing in an aviation case, ChatGPT had not only just made up the cases, it had misidentified judges and completely fabricated some airlines. So I think with some basic due diligence, that probably could have been avoided. But those lawyers were sued in the process. Some of these tools also have bias built into them. So some research was done to show that ChatGPT in the US is significantly leaning towards the Democrats, and in the UK towards Labour. So that raises some concerns about the tool's ability to sway people's political votes. Confidentiality and privacy is also a big issue. This was demonstrated when Samsung, an employee at Samsung, uploaded some source code of a phone was yet to be released to check it for bugs and errors, not realizing that then it becomes publicly available information. So I'm sure he got in some trouble as well. This extends beyond just text and documents as well. It also goes into images as well. So you may have seen an introduction of some nice looking tools where you can upload your image and it creates a nice professional looking LinkedIn photo for you. Be mindful when using those tools that you read the privacy documents, because once you've used them, they then own your face. And they're free to use that in their marketing or any way which they see possible. So the same can be applied when we're uploading our site drawings, photographs of our site, visualization we're producing. And if you're using ChatGPT to make actions from a meeting transcript that you've done, make sure you're comfortable with all of that information being shared. So now I've scared the hell out of you. I can see why maybe starting out on your AI journey can seem quite daunting. But there are some quick first steps that you can take in terms of getting started. The first step I would take is create a really simple, technical, jargon-free policy document on the do's and don'ts of when using AI. Explain that AI isn't here to do your job for you. It's here to outsource elements of your work. You could also say things like, don't enter personal, confidential, competitive, or sensitive information. Don't connect AI to any of your organization's systems without the right approval. Don't buy or develop AI tools without going through the right governance channels. And don't use AI for any automated decision-making without any human decisions. That's straight out of the BAM policy, by the way, so you're welcome. Now you've laid the foundation of how you should be doing things safely, you need to understand why you want to use AI. This is about developing the business cases. And a good place to start is understanding where you've got those repetitive, everyday tasks, those data-heavy activities that are consuming a lot of your time. Once you've got that, I would also understand, does the technology vendors that you're already working with have AI capability that they're now introducing into their businesses? You've already got a working relationship, a trusted relationship with those existing technology vendors. See if you can leverage their AI solutions before going out to the wider market. And then finally, establish what expertise you already have in your organization. So I chair an AI community of practice within BAM. I went out to the organization to see who would like to be involved. And I've unearthed master students, PhD students who have done PhDs in AI and machine learning, based all around the business, not in digital, but doing roles all around the business. And we can now work together to accelerate the adoption of AI within BAM. There's a wealth of resources available to you online. David Brith is he's an innovation speaker and an author, and he's created some really easy to digest information about getting started and how to position AI in your company. This is the Sensible AI Manifesto. He's done one on good prompting as well. And there's the AI Standards Hub, which has over 300 standards related to adopting AI in your businesses. But common sense should be your guiding star. If something doesn't feel right, it probably needs a second and deeper evaluation. So AI in BAM. We, like I said at the beginning, we're very early in terms of our AI journey. Nothing yet is deemed business as usual, but we're running trials across the whole life cycle within our business. We start at tendering and bidding. We're using a tool at the moment to evaluate all the bids that we have coming in from our supply chain and checking those bids using an AI tool against the tenders to make sure that they've correctly priced for all of the elements within the tender. We're also using the tool to trawl our SharePoint site. We've got a work winning hub to bring out specific examples of where we delivered that type of work in the past. Mixed results at the moment, much to the delight of the bid writers. Their jobs are safe for now, but we're going on a journey and we're developing these tools. We then move into planning, which is probably the most mature area of our business in terms of using AI. We're working with some SMEs that have been around for a number of years. One of them is called Nplan. They've built the world's largest data set of construction programs. And the idea is that we can put our program through their AI machine learning, and it will tell us how accurately they think we predicted the end date of our projects, and it will also flag individual activities that they think we've underestimated how long it's going to take. This will do two things. It will validate the risks you already know, and the other thing it will do is bring out completely unknown risks to you and your team based on everything that's happened in the past. One challenge is getting the management to stop challenging the AI and just trusting it, because good data is only valuable if you then take meaningful action to resolve that. Nplan have also developed their own version of ChatGPT. They've called it Barry. Don't ask me why. But you can go in and ask Barry, you can say, hey Barry, how's my project performing this week? What are my top 5 risks? And it will give you a list of the risks. And then you say, how might I mitigate these risks? And because it's been trained on construction data, it will give you some sensible solutions around how you might mitigate those risks. Another tool is a company called Nodes and Links, and they can generate reports really quickly from the program data, and they've now got a generative AI narrative which goes alongside that to then describe what those reports are showing. We then move into the construction phase. So we're working with Autodesk. They've got a module called Construction IQ, which is their AI version, which then trawls all of the modeling data, so you can then query the models and bring out information about the models. And it also can start querying ACC build to understand how your projects are performing, how many issues, NCRs that you're creating, etc. We're also using AI to monitor site progress as well. So we're training AI to recognize images to understand types of construction activity that's happening on site, and then how far progressed that activity is. So this means two things. It's probably less likely to see a QS out on site now because we've got AI technology. And secondly, it means that you can have a complete objective conversation with your supply chain about how far along things are progressing. We think reality capture is going to be a huge growth area for us as a business. I think it's bringing together a multitude of technologies around 360 imagery, photogrammetry, LiDAR scanning, all AI enabled, not just to do progress tracking, but then to do quality assurance, early identification of health and safety issues, as-built verification. There's loads of applications with this technology. And then finally into operations. So at BAM, we've got an FM arm to our business. So we've started now optimizing maintenance schedules using AI, and also allowing our facility managers to now query assets before they go and visit them. You know, when was it last maintained? How many boilers are in the asset? And the AI can bring back that information. But also working more closely with our customers, because they're coming to us for consultations about how they should be thinking about how they manage their assets in the future. So they're really interested about AI-enabled digital twins, and I think there's some talks on that later today. This is the Gartner Hype Cycle, which you'll be familiar with. This is one for AI technologies, which was released this year. Interesting to see that generative AI is now past that peak of inflated expectations, and it's now coming down to that trough of disillusionment. I will caveat that with last year, generative AI, I think, received an 8-fold increase in investment on previous years, somewhere in the region of £25.2 billion of investment. Granted, 10 billion of that was Microsoft's investment into OpenAI, but there's a huge amount of investment going into generative AI solutions. They do say that 80% of AI startups will fail, and that's about going through that trough of disillusionment and coming out the other side with some real tangible solutions that are going to work for the industry. But there's some really interesting technologies on the upward trajectory, but this is important to understand this when managing expectations. There's a lot of interest and excitement at the moment, but we need to wait until we get out of that plateau before we start seeing those business as usual tangible solutions in the industry. So on that note, be wary of vendors and suppliers that you're talking with. Everyone's now trying to sell you the next best AI tool. Be careful to read their data usage and their policy documents. We've had a number of incidents where if we want to use their AI tools, they want to use our data to train their AI tools, which you might be comfortable with, but you should be aware that is what they're asking you to do. We're actually involved in a project at the moment, an Innovate UK project, which is talking about bringing together a number of UK contractors to create a shared data trust, because we think as the data owners, we should own that data rather than the technology vendors. So that's an interesting turn on it. So you're not alone here. There's a number of funds available out in the industry at the moment. This is one in Ireland, the Disruptive Technology Innovation Fund. This is a 500 million euro fund. I think to date they funded somewhere in the region of 371 million euros worth of projects, over 100 projects that have happened in Ireland. In UK, I mentioned Innovate UK. They've got a particular call at the moment called Bridge AI, which is really looking at high growth potential sectors such as agriculture, construction, logistics, where they see AI having a massive impact. At BAM, we've got 2 active projects that have been funded through Bridge AI. So really, it's just time to get started now. So just in summary, learn about AI, attend AI conferences. Check, you've all done that step. Be aware of the risks of the tool. Develop an easy to understand policy, because everyone's interested in this and people will go into the shadows and do it anyway. So write an easy to understand policy that people can follow. Surface those in your business with an interest in AI. There will be those that already exist. Train the rest of your business to understand the basics. I don't think this is shiny tool syndrome that the industry is normally guilty of. This is going to make a real difference to our bottom lines, and really motivate your teams to grab this opportunity with both hands and get started. Thank you for your time.